Yeah, you're welcome back to the Sosa blog, the blog of Africa, the African blogging station. Um, yeah, I'm here, happy to be here today. Today, I'm still going to be talking about Sudan, the hotspot of Africa as of the moment, why Sudan is not coming to rest. Um, yeah, and why our African leaders are so weak, are so very, very weak, and they cannot solve the problem in their backyard. Uh, as we all know, the conflict in Sudan has been going on for more than a year or even going to 2 years now. And there have been overthrow of government and the overthrow of government again and re-overthrown of government. And, you know, in Africa, we have a problem. And this problem is something that is very, very easy and to understand. And at the same time, not all that difficult to solve. But in some ways, I don't know if people understand my English, the English I'm speaking, but I want you to understand. You can look for something uh, to understand my ways or what I'm trying to say. You know, African is one of the largest continent in the earth, and it's most populated by the blacks, and in the black region where the black occupied has been in problems for so many years, for thousands of years. We have ethnic war, we have tribal wars, we have so many other wars that has been going on, slavery, and so on. We have come a long way with all this problem, and we survive in some ways. But today we have a new system of war, which is really not Africa war, and I've been talking about this for so long. That Africans, the children of Africa, should wake up in the land of Africa, because in the situation of Sudan, it's very clear where the problem lies. Because I have been following this right from time. Right from Egypt, Tunisia, and was trying to hold in Nigeria, and it didn't succeed. And now we have it in Sudan. You know, we African people, we always believe what we have been told by the Western world, and the Western world we know is not usually our friends, or the American. You can imagine the first coup that took place in Nigeria was sponsored by the Americans, by the CIA, and the British and all that. And at the same time, we have seen so many problems in Africa caused by colonial powers, supremacy, then imperialism, and all that. But today we can see what is going on in Sudan, how their leaders are selling them out and killing themselves because of a naval base. Naval base that doesn't belong to any land in Africa, that belongs to a Russian or American or whatever they may call themselves. You know, we, the Africans, we are too weak to understand ourselves, even to stand for ourselves. Why is this so? And I will allow you to know this. Most of the leaders we are having in Africa today, either they are CIA agent or FSB agent, who usually represent the interest of either Russia or the Americans or the Europeans or the Chinese. And you see, the conflict in Sudan has something to do with Russia, China, America, and Western Europe. We have seen this several times in that continent, where other people will come and impose themselves on us. And this is exactly what is going on today. You can see one side has its own side, which is the American side, and the other side has the Russian side, killing themselves because of foreigners. This is so disgusting. I can't believe what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing. The Americans and the Western governments have agents, And one of these agents is the UN and the World Criminal Court. You can see the UN today, anywhere there is crisis in Africa, they run there to mediate and do everything. You know, the issue between Israel and Palestine has been going on for years, you know, for years and years and years. But we haven't seen the UN going in there to mediate, you know. In so many other cases, we saw what went on in former Yugoslavia before they divided. The UN didn't make any achievement. But when it comes to Africa, you will see the UN vehicles everywhere. You see them coming and say they are bringing peace to us, but in the real sense, the peace they are bringing to us is not the peace, but imposing themselves on us. You know, in the case of Sudan today, I read in the newspaper and I also view in the television that one of the leaders is rejecting the UN envoy, and the UN envoy should not be allowed to enter Sudan again. You know, I wonder why, and I wonder if anybody could explain this to me. Why is this that way? Because many people don't really understand what is going on in Sudan. Because the UN immediately, or even immediately the first revolution started in Sudan, you see the UN was so fast to move in. You know, why is it that way? You know, why is it UN so fast when it comes to the issue of Africa? Is somebody using the UN against Africa? I believe there is something of such, and you know, you see, the issue of Sudan has been going on for more than 2 years now, or even going to 3 years. But none of our African leaders have been able to wake up from their dream to come out to say enough is enough. You know, why can't they do that? Because I said this before, either some of them are agents of the CIA or some of them are agents of the FSB, you know. And when both of them cannot come together to make a decision to bring peace to Africa, that is why it's very, very important. Our people, our young ones have to start learning very, very fast, because the destruction of Africa is moving faster as we can think. Because when you see today, you see our people donating soldiers to UN mission, this and that. America will say they donated some billions to Africa, development of Africa every year, the European Unions, and each countries in Europe donating billions to Africa development. And you see Japan, China, and other countries, Australia, New Zealand, and others, saying they donate billions into Africa to develop Africa. But today we know that this money didn't even come to Africa. That this money is being used by the secret agents, looting all our mineral resources, recruiting military force against Africans and all that. We know this today. And because Africans are learning faster now, because the youth of today are learning faster. And in the future, we will need this youth to defend Africa, not only physically, but morally and economically, and to bring Africa forward. You know, but the problem is just too big. It's too big. And most of the leaders we are having today are so corrupt, you know. Like Sudan today, I believe there are so many sanctions now from African Union and other unions and all that, you know, and from European countries, from the UN, from America, and from China, and Russia, and whatsoever. But you see, that is the problem. That is the problem. You know, immediately anything started in Africa, we will be calling on America to solve our problem, calling on Europeans to solve our problem. Africa will never stand up one day to solve European problem, or the African will never try once to impose sanction on America. It has never happened. Or Africa will wake up and say they want to impose sanction on European country. It doesn't happen. That is where we are losing it. We are losing it because we allow these people to be dictating for us who our friends are or not. Look at the issue of Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe have been under sanction for more than 20 years now. And we are allowing the people to be dying. We said we are Africans, we are brothers and sisters. These are black Africans that sanctions are being imposed on. But we are doing nothing against it. We allow these people to come to the land of Africa and impose everything they want on us, especially the British, who is using the Commonwealth to be looting Africa. I don't see any meaning the Commonwealth have for Africa, especially benefiting the British. I think Africans should wake up. And for me, it would have been better to dissolve the OAU, the Organization of African Unity, to dissolve it and rebuild it. Because what we know today is that the OAU is being influenced by foreign power, is being organized by foreign powers. Can you imagine everything that is being discussed in OAU, intern, outside, or whatever, is being heard all over the world? America has their wires there. The European Union has their wires. Everybody has their wires there. So it's for, in the case of Sudan, it's a very, very weak point to Africa to see that no African leader wake up to stand up and say, okay, we want peace in Sudan. We want to resolve the issue of Sudan ourselves. Instead, you see African leaders talking about Ukraine. They talk about Ukraine as if it's their business, but we have Sudan in our backyard, and we are doing nothing about it. Look at South Africa president coming out to say they want to do this in Ukraine. They want to bring, inviting envoys to bring peace to Ukraine. When we have war in Africa, we have Democratic Republic of Congo, we have Somalia, we have Ethiopia, we have Eritrea. We have so many hotspots in Africa, something like Ivory Coast, Gambia, and so on, where there's no peace, which African countries are supposed to be active, bringing peace to them, but we are not doing that. But today we are talking about Ukraine. Even our citizens, our citizens, the citizens of Africa, the way we said one-sided to the side of Russia, and some sided to the way of Westerners. Because I look at this and said, no, Africa needs this brain. Africa needs a free brain, without interference, without having European commandos in African land, without having Wagner forces in Africa. Africa needs his brain to think for himself first before going outside. You see, South Africa will be bragging out there with their president, this and that, talking about Russia, supplying arms to Russia. But today, you see what is happening in Sudan. They don't even talk about Sudan. They don't even talk about Somalia. They don't talk about anything Africa. You see how the stupidities of Africa, So it's very, very worrying to see our leaders behave in the way they are behaving today. And you see, in Africa today, no leader, no one leader. Nigeria could have had this. Nigeria could have done this, but they are so occupied at this moment with the presidential election, inauguration, and the court fighting themselves because of the result of the presidential election that nobody really have time for Sudan. Nigerians have been playing a very, very big role in Africa, bringing peace to Africa. Many people may hate Nigeria for what reason or whatsoever, but let me tell you something. People that really stand for Africa is Nigeria. When you talk of Liberia today, there's no other African country that stand up for Liberia when Liberia was in crisis. And Nigeria took a lot of refugees from Liberia, provide armies to stabilize that country, help them building the new government. And likewise in Sierra Leone and so many others. Even Ghana that is talking to the Nigeria paid a heavy price for them to stand as they stand today. Talk about South Africa. Nigeria paid a heavy price for them. So I think it's the time that Nigeria now wake up again. Nigeria should wake up again and take the leadership role. Take the leadership role and bring peace to Sudan bring peace to Somalia and Ethiopia and whatsoever in Africa, in the land of Africa, because we have been put into this problem not just by ourselves but our people. You know, when people talking about Rwanda president Kagame or whatever they call him, you know, I have always been saying this man is not to be trusted, because you can't trust this man. Somebody who was trying to buy Africans from Britain, bring them to Rwanda to use them as slaves. You know, these are Africans we call respected leaders. Who are they respect? Why are they respected leaders? We need to start talking about Africa, talking to our people, educating our people, allow them to understand that they are second to none, that they're also a human being and equal to other people. You know, because many people hate Nigeria today because the way Nigeria stand, because Nigeria is not afraid of anything, not even America or something like that. But we have some inferiority complex among the Nigerians also, like the Yorubas, the Hausa, not the Hausa, the Igbos, always cry out to America, this is happening, America will do that, America will do this. You know, what are you doing for America? What do you expect America to do for you other than to create confusion? You know, when people doesn't understand, that's why I don't understand our people. Because if you go to Iraq today and go to Syria and go to other Middle East country, somewhere like Palestine, I don't think no African country will call on America to do anything in Africa, or call on the European Union or the Chinese or the Russia. You know, African, we say, oh, Russia is our friend, Russia is this. Yes, that may be, but in all overall, we doesn't have friends out there. You know, everybody is fighting for their interest. Russia is fighting for his interest in Africa, likewise the Europeans and the Americans. None of them love you because they are using you for their own interest. You know, or when South Africa is talking to say, oh, when we were fighting apartheid, the Russian supported us with arms and this and that. But wait, why did Russia supported you people with arms? You know, that's one question. And at the same time, Russia is not supporting Africa. They are fighting for their own interest, fighting for a way to also occupy Africa, to have their own share of what we are having. You know, so people should think for Africa, without Russia, without European Union, without America, without China, because we are jumping from one slavery to the other slavery. That's what people doesn't understand. And I want to say this to everybody today. We are still slaves. We are not free. We have independence. As far as we are members of the Commonwealth, we are members of the UN, we are members of any organization that is organized by the Western world and Americans, we are not free. We are still under slavery. Look at what is happening to our people today in Jamaica. They are still under British. Apart from pronouncing they have independence, you know, they are still independent. You know, in the case of South Africa, I can assure you today, if the white people leave South Africa will lose everything they have. They are going to lose it, and they are going to be confronted with sanction upon sanctions and upon sanctions, just like the way they did to Zimbabwe, did to Robert Mugabe. You know, so we Africans, we need to wake up and fight for ourselves. Sudan, and regain Sudan back, because Sudan is in the land of Africa. It's not in the land of Russia. It's not in the land of America. It's not in the land of China. So let Africa wake up and broke his peace deal with Sudan, you know, because what happened in the Sudan at the first stage, the overall, the first movement was not just the will of the Sudan people. Sudanese were sponsored by somebody, you know, just like what happened in Egypt, what happened in Tunisia. You can see Egypt survived because the military moved in strictly, yeah. But we can see what is happening in Tunisia today. There's no real government. Since 4 years now, they have been in this turmoil. And the same thing is happening to Sudan today, because we are always being used by other people, calling our leaders corrupt and others. We just believe when somebody just, oh, this man is having a lot of money in the Swiss, he's hiding the country billions in the Swiss, in America, and all that. But when you ask these people to refund the money, we got nothing. If there's something there, why would these people not return it? You know, and in the case of Nigeria, we saw that time when they were saying Abacha has in billions, has this and that in Switzerland, in America, and all that. But we are still waiting today for them to. It's only just a fraction that was sent to Nigeria, because we know most of them was exaggerated and forcefully put into our brain to believe that this government was bad and this and that, that we should fight against it. That nearly resulted in a civil war. And today, we can see the situation Nigeria is facing with the Boko Haram, and these are also artificial conflicts created by the Western world, because there's no conflict in Africa that is being created by the Africans. It's always from a foreign power. So that is why it's very, very important. African leaders, we should think twice before we choose our leader. We watch carefully now, because anybody that is being supported by the Western countries should be dropped. Anybody that is being supported by the Russian should be dropped out of any race in anything. So that is all I have to say for today. And let me just end this broadcast, because more will be coming from the Source blog, the African blogging station. And this is like a basket match. We will not be afraid to say anything that is really going on without sugarcoating anything. So thank you very much for joining me, and hope to see you soon. Bye-bye. So continue to talk, and we are going to be talking about everything that is really matter to our people, no matter how this difficult the situation is,